All right, everyone. Welcome back to Otaku About It, the podcast where we talk about any and everything in otaku culture. I'm your host, Shelby.
And I'm your co-host, Lawrence. And today we're going to do a con review. That's something that we used to do on my YouTube channel, but we're going to move this over to Otaku About It on the podcast, just because I feel like a 20-minute video on YouTube is a little long for a lot of you guys to sit around. So we turned it over to the podcast so you guys can listen to it, on your way to commute or on, if you're at the gym or something. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, let's get into the usual con review.
Yes.
So this weekend we were at Crunchyroll, so we want to touch base on, we want to share our opinion on Crunchyroll. So we're going to start off with the con events, the dealer hall, artist alley, size, and variety. And usually when we do this, if you guys are new to the con review, we usually do it on a scale of 1 through 5. So 5 being excellent, 1 being not so good and could definitely need improvement, and 3 being typical, standard expectations of
average convention.
Yeah. So dealers hall and artist alley, you go ahead, Shelby. You want to give them your opinion?
For both dealers hall and artist alley, I would say maybe 3.5 out of 5. The thing was that they were combined into the one room with just a black curtain separating the sides, and so it made it seem a lot larger than I think it actually was, where you only had 6 aisles of artist alley and then maybe 10 of exhibitors. But the artist alley I felt was very typical of any other con. There was no real booth that stood out to me that I hadn't seen before. But then with the exhibitor hall, I did see some more interactive booths, which was nice. Like they had a pool filled with banana plushies that you could go and lie in. And
you still want to give it 3.5? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, together with the artist alley. And then they had darts and a little crane game at the Food Fantasy booth.
Okay. So
I think that put it a little above, but then you had your typical t-shirt, plushie, figure.
Posters.
The
typical vendors, the ones we see every and that's not, go ahead, are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yours 3.5. So thank you, Shelby. Mine for the dealer hall and artist alley, Shelby made a good point. I didn't even realize that they had, made the illusion of making it bigger by splitting up one room into 2. Mm-hmm. But with that, considering that, I think this is their second year running it. I'd still give it, I would give it a 4, just because despite the usual vendors that go, that's not Crunchyroll's fault. These are just the vendors that usually that's their routine travel for their business. However, I did see some new artists, such as I think Boomslang. They did a collab with Crunchyroll, so that was really cool. I thought that was really neat.
I did see a lot of new, apparel artists, or
some new diversity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that sense, more not hipster wear, but street.
Urban.
There you go, urban wear.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of those booths, which I haven't seen.
Yeah, right. And I think that's really cool. I like that. That's why I gave it a 4. And that's another good thing. I'm giving it a 4 because it has interactive booths such as Food Fantasy booths, the banana plushie pool. That was really cool. They had a little lounging area which people can sit in. They had a magical girl booth thingy going on in the back. They had
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was way in the back. What else did they have? It was a little bit like an entertainment hall. The dealer's hall, the exhibit hall, was a little bit like the entertainment hall. So I did like the interactive aspect that Crunchyroll brought. So that's one of the reasons why I give it a 4. So that's my score. Moving on, that's Crunchyroll. Moving on into guests and autographs. So I didn't do any of that.
I did.
Okay, so go ahead.
The guests, I thought I would give it 4.5, 4.75.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, it's Crunchyroll. They have access to a lot of really good people, and I don't like their system, but I do like their system with how they handle autographs. So from what I know of, all the autographs were free, but you had to go early in the morning before the convention opened, between 8 and 10, and stand in a very long line to get one ticket to an autograph session. And so if you wanted to get multiple people's autograph during the day, you had to go back in that line like multiple times. And I'd say it took around, for me, I went
For 2 people, right?
early, yeah. And so to go in the line twice, it took me an hour. So like 20 minutes per time or 30 minutes per time. And then you would just go and give your ticket to the person waiting at the end of the line, and you just wait in line to get the autograph. And they had hour slots for people. So I think it was good in that they had a certain number of tickets. So though if you had a ticket, you were going to get an autograph.
Oh, that's good.
But if you missed out on
The morning? You're
or done. Yeah, no, there's no chance. Or if you wanted to see 2 people in the same time slot, you wouldn't be able to get it. So like that was the downside of it. But I thought their system overall was really good.
That's good. And how long did you have with each guest when you went up there?
I'd say I'm not much of a talker with the guests, but I was there for maybe like a minute and a half.
Okay.
I'm assuming from the people that were in front of me, like you had around like 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, that sounds
per
typical.
person. Yeah.
Like at least when I do my meetings, it's usually like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's long.
Yeah. So I'd give it close to a 5, but not out of 5, just because trying to get multiple people is very difficult.
So there's like a 12 hour. So there's like what 5. They're there for 1 hour.
Yeah. Some people would be there like they'd
2
have
hours.
back-to-back time slots, so they'd be there 2 hours.
But in the lines, you like when you were in line, just body estimating, how many people you thought was there for that 1 hour?
I'd say around 70 to...
70? I don't. How can that doesn't work then? Like if it's a minute per person.
I mean, not everyone uses minutes. Some people just went up and got signature and they left.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it was a pretty big line.
Okay. So then there must have been someone that was like regulating, like, hey, you know.
Yeah, there was someone standing right there.
Like, okay, you get 15 seconds up.
Yeah.
Get out
like
of here.
If you need a picture, get your camera ready. Like, they were very
Okay, I think, okay, that's
organized.
Okay.
Yeah, so I give it close to a 5. But if you're trying to get multiple people, I would be prepared to spend your whole day over there.
Okay. I think from, I'm not going to give a rating, but from what I heard with other people that have gone to meet the guests, they had like a blast. The guests were really good.
Yeah, they were really nice people.
So that's cool. Are you done?
Yep.
Okay, so that's Crunchyroll. Let's move on to panels. Did you go to any panels?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I was sad, but there were some that were really interesting.
Yeah, the Boku no Hero panel I heard was really, really funny and good.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually pretty packed. I went to a panel last year for Freddie Wong, and it's usually packed, and he has Q&As. I think it's really good. I'm not gonna give a rating for this year because I didn't go to any.
Yeah, I didn't go, but I did look at the schedule, and there was a lot of variety, and there were even like panels to so you could see like shows coming out early on.
Oh, like a premiere.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
That's exactly what.
I was like, it's a word. I couldn't find it. But yeah. So no rating for me.
Oh, okay. And this is gonna be a really sad con review because we didn't do like usually we hit up at least the Masquerade panel, but we were gonna do the Masquerade, but we went to grab food and it just took forever.
Yeah.
It was a 1 hour wait to get in, and then they ran out a bunch of food. So anyways, we ended up not going to the Masquerade, so we can't give a review on that. But if you did, let us know in the comments or shoot us a tweet what you thought about it. I don't know. Usually I have friends that enter, but this year I don't think anyone I knew
didn't know
entered.
anyone entered.
Yeah.
It seemed really cool though, and interactive. There was like a game show, I think. I don't know. Let us know.
Trivia fact. Shelby entered Masquerade last year.
No, I didn't.
Actually, I knew a couple of friends that won the Masquerade last year too. And I do remember them having a interactive Masquerade last year. They had that last year. Mm-hmm. So I think they might have done that again this year. So that's really neat.
Dragon Quest theme, I believe.
Oh yeah, I did remember reading up on that. Like the best Dragon Quest cosplayer gets blah blah blah, and they get like the free game. So that's really neat. Mm-hmm. But once again, it's like I said, it's Crunchyroll, so they have industry connections with Square Enix.
Yeah.
Of course. That's to be expected, I guess. However, I will give a rating on the rave and nightlife because I did go to the rave they had, which was Teddy Lloyd. I think I don't listen to Teddy Lloyd, but I know Steph does, and she really had a good time, and a lot of people there were just having a good time. So I think the rave itself, even though it's a little small, I'm gonna give it maybe I'm gonna give it a 3.5, just because I've been to SakuraCon's rave, and SakuraCon's rave was like really good. Had a really good time. This rave was
just small.
It's small, but the whole convention center and stuff for Crunchyroll was small, so
Yeah.
it was appropriate. But like that being said, 3.5 for the rave. Nightlife, it's almost non-existent. I feel like a lot of people want to make it. Like it's still a 3.5. I feel like a lot of people want to make Crunchyroll a Fanime Part 2 because it's the same venue and everything. But it just, like we said earlier, there's a lot of conventions going on this weekend, so there's this big divide. And so
yeah, the crowds just weren't there.
The crowds just weren't there. We just ended up. Yeah, we ended up. I had a great time like at the hotel. We just had drinks and we came back. We had like deep conversations.
Chilled, yeah.
Like I think that was really cool. But then again, that's not really, that you can have with your own group of people. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. But nightlife, I'd say.
Like LobbyCon,
Yeah,
it's like
3.
3.5.
Yeah.
It's just no.
It's still finding its footing, I think.
It's very
Crunchyroll,
baby.
yeah.
It's very baby. Let's go. So after that, let's go into the con itself, such as San Jose Convention Center. So for the convention center, let's go on a scale 1 through 5 for the surrounding and the location.
I mean, it's the same as Fanime, so I'd give it a 5. Just because, hotels are right there. There's a lot of food options. The convention itself is like beautiful and like a lot of good places for photography. But I do think it was too big for Crunchyroll as its second year. So there was a lot of empty space.
A lot of empty space.
Yeah, which is both good and bad. Good, you can find your friends. Bad,
it makes it look empty.
Yeah, it takes away from the community.
The energy is distributed too much.
Yeah.
So because you don't have this concentrated group of people, I know
it's hard to feed off of each other.
Yeah, I get it. It's a concept. It's like the illusion of it. But still, spreading out the attendees, like what they did is kind of like, I guess the convention center was too big to house whatever they had going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So it just made it look like a ghost town. Not like a ghost town, sorry. Made it look very, not as packed as it did the first year it did at Santa Clara.
Yeah, because Santa Clara was a lot smaller.
A lot smaller, but everyone was like appropriately, somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's Crunchyroll, but we're judging San Jose Convention Center, which is the same as Fanime. I'd still give it a 4.5, a 5, because hotel blocks are right across the street. 2 of them are inside, like connected to the convention center. A bunch of food places around. Like that itself is super convenient and safe. I thought it was safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I give it a 5. Okay, and then so San Jose Convention Center. Let's move on to con traffic. I guess con traffic. Now this is appropriate for what we were just saying with Crunchyroll. What do you think of it on a scale 1 through 5?
5 being crowded.
5 being
ghost town.
1 being, I guess. Oh yeah, this is the thing we had to discuss last time.
Yeah. So
con traffic, I guess, is more like appropriateness. So 5 being the most appropriate, and appropriate is size and crowd ratio. Meaning, for example, like Fanime, I thought was appropriate, like a 5. Katsucon, I feel like it was a 5. But AX, I would put at a 2.
Oh, okay, I got you. So I would give Crunchyroll a 3. It's kind of middle of the road. Like I said before, there's a lot of empty space, but not too much to where it felt
alive.
Yeah, you could still hang out with people and see people, but there's just a lot of
it begs the question, where is everyone?
Yeah.
Am I the only one here?
Oh, is this it?
I've seen it all. Did everyone leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, same with Shelby. I'd give it a 2.5, because coming from last year's Crunchyroll, I thought it was really appropriate. Last year's Crunchyroll at Santa Clara, I think it was a 5. I liked it. But this year, I say it's a 2.5, but it has room to grow.
But I mean, it did make moving around easy, in the artist alley and all that. Yeah. So next,
let's go into staff and security.
Staff was very helpful, so I would give the staff and security a 4.5. They did have very stringent security right at the door, and then on the outside areas that would kind of block you off from going into any other entrance. But they were nice about it and very friendly, and when I asked for directions to a place, they were very helpful and joked around. So I would give it a 4.5 just for their friendliness.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
I think I give it like a 3, just
Really?
because I felt that the security for Crunchyroll was really tight, so it made me feel not as comfortable. Even though I'm not doing anything bad, but it's just because they were so. I felt like the vibe I was getting from the security, they were really like, they weren't really happy being there. I'm
Like
happy being there.
The front door security.
The front door securities that were checking your bags and everything, and like after the bags, they would do like the near field connection with your badge. Those were also securities there, so I felt like having that much security up front it's not like it's not a warm welcome.
Yeah, you definitely had to go through 3 people to get just in.
Yeah,
you had the bag checker, and then if you beeped, like in my cosplay beeped, I had to get wanded every time I went in.
And then you had to get your badge.
And then I had to tap my badge. Yeah.
So that was a very unwelcoming face of Crunchyroll.
But I see where they were coming from with all the events and.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, like the attendees, the people that messed it up for everyone else, kind of made it bad. They were just being safe, so I don't want to put that against them. I guess, yeah. I guess so. And then moving forward, a lot of conventions are starting to like crack down on security, and
yeah, I think we'll see that a lot more.
I mean, it goes with the territory. It's just more people. But I think, from what I heard, I didn't have any issues with weapon checks. But I heard people who were having the hardest time ever with weapon check. With like, your weapon's too heavy. Your weapon's made out of wood.
Yeah, I heard
this is
a
like
lot of wood.
Danger.
Yeah,
I'm like. So I didn't really like that, especially since it's in the same convention as Fanime, and Fanime is like 10 times the size as Crunchyroll. And a lot of people, like, if you watch the Fanime con review, I loved Weapon Check, I loved the staff there, they were like really good. But Crunchyroll, I'm giving it 3, an honest opinion, because they could be better.
Alright.
So after that, let's go into food accessibility and diversity.
Again, I'd give it a 5, just like at Fanime. Because still had street dog vendors like right outside.
Same people.
Yeah, you had the coffee shop inside the convention center. The only thing was you did have to go around if you didn't have your badge, because you still had to check in and out of the convention center because they moved security checkpoints. And then like right across the street was like numerous food options of all variety. I like that a lot too. Yeah, same thing with Fanime. Except I'd still give it a 5. I want to give it a little bit more than a 5, but I mean 5 is the highest we go. But they did have food, like unique food inside in the like
so like takoyaki and stuff like that. So
cotton candy, donuts.
Yeah, like exotic food that you go,
Yeah.
oh hey, this is cool.
Like, oh, that's here.
So
cool.
It's good for foodies.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. That's still a 5. Let's wrap this up. The last aspect we're going to I guess give our opinion on for Crunchyroll and San Jose Convention Center itself is the travel accommodations. So what do you?
5.
A 5? Why?
Or no. I give it 4.5. Once you got there, and if you had a hotel in the multiple hotel options around there, you were like set. Like, so you could just walk to the convention center, you could walk to food. You didn't have to drive anywhere. But if you were staying at a place like outside of those, 4 or 5 hotels, then I felt like just general traffic is very hard and you would have to Uber. And there weren't many parking options.
You sure?
There were not many cheap parking options, I would say. So that's the only downside, is if you have a car, you have to pay like, $10-15 to park for the day.
Okay. I'd say the traveling accommodation. So you still give it a 5?
Yeah, a low 5. Well, parking adds up when you're there for 3 days. So that's the only reason.
To give it a 5?
To give it a low 5.
What is it? Is it a 5 or?
A 4.75.
Okay. I think travel accommodations, definitely, I'd say a 5 for many reasons. I think there's the Caltran, the BART. I'm not even sure, but there's a shuttle or a train that takes you to the convention center. The parking structures, they weren't too far away from the convention center. A 4-minute walk based off Google Maps. So which is just not a problem. What else? The hotel blocks, they all had hotels. I mean, they're all around there. And what else? You can walk basically almost everywhere. So I think it was nice. That's why I give it a 5 for the San Jose Convention Center and Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine's just cost for parking.
I get it.
But yeah, so overall rating for the for Crunchyroll Expo? What would you give?
I'm gonna give it a 3 just because I know they can do better. They can do better.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. I think they have a good spot. They just need to be able to fix it.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 3 because last year I feel like it was a little better, to be
Agreed.
honest.
Yeah. No,
So I think
too.
this is like them stepping it down. So to me, I was a little disappointed because I did have expectations. So, I mean, if this was your first Crunchyroll, then maybe you might have a different opinion. And if you do, then let us know in the comments or shoot us a tweet. And let us know how. Okay, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up right here, right? So like, let us know what other topics you want us to cover for the convention or con reviews. And let us know how we're doing for these con reviews. And we will talk to you guys next time.
We'll talk again soon.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Bye.